Leviticus chapter 14, verse 33. All right. Thank you for being on. All right. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when you have come into the land of Canaan, which I give you as a possession, and I put leprous plagues in a house in the land of your possession, and he who owns the house comes to tell the priest, saying, it seems to me that there is some plague in the house. Then the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest goes into to examine the plague, that all that is the house may not be made unclean. And afterwards, the priest shall go and examine the house. So now it's the house. You got to examine the house. You got to make sure the house gets clean. So remember during COVID, hey, first off, you have to be clean. Your clothes has to be clean. And now you got to make sure your house gets cleaned out. All right. And that's what's going on here. Now it's like, hey, we got to examine your house. Afterwards, the priest shall go and examine the house, and he shall examine the plague. And indeed, if the plague is on the walls of the house with ingrained streaks, greenish or reddish, which appears to be deep in the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house of the doorhouse and shut up the house 7 days. Like, hey, we got to wait for this to go away. All that to do with germs, all right? And the priest shall come again on the 7th day and look indeed if the plague has spread on the walls of the house. Then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which is the plague, and they shall cast them into the unclean place outside the city. So like, hey, remove those stones, and like, hey, the plague has got on the house. So that is huge. And he shall cause the house to be scraped inside all around, and dust that they scrape off shall pour out in an unclean place outside the city. And they shall take other stones and put them in the place of the stone. He shall take other mortars, plaster the house. So you got to pretty much redo the house, right? So we're dealing with germs here, all right? It's biblical, the book of Leviticus, you're dealing with, all right, this plague. Now, if the plague comes back and breaks out in the house after it's taken away the stones, after that he has scraped the house and after he has plastered, then the priest shall come and look, and indeed if the plague has spread in the house, it is active leprosy in the house, it is unclean. The house is unclean. And he shall break down the house, its stones, its timber, and the plaster of the house, and shall carry them outside the city to be unclean place, to an unclean. So pretty much get rid of the house. If it's just all over the house, you can't get rid of it. You can't replace certain stones. Get rid of the whole house. That is crazy. Moreover, he who goes into the house at all while it is shut up shall be unclean until evening. And he who lies down in the house shall wash his clothes, and he who eats in the house shall wash his clothes. All right. So this is huge to remember. During COVID, this would have been extremely convenient. Like during COVID, it's like, hey, how do you remain clean? All right. It's pretty much telling you how to be clean, how to live, I know during COVID, like, hey, you had to clean your whole house, got the, disinfect. Man, these are simple. Man. But if the priest comes in and examines it, and indeed the plague has spread after the house is plastered, take the cleanse. Let me see here. Then the priest shall pronounce the house clean because the plague is healed. So if the priest comes and it stays clean, then it's pronounced clean. You don't got to knock down the whole house. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, cedar wood, scarlet, hyssop. And he shall kill one of the birds in an earthen vessel over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet, and living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird and in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. You're cleansing the house. And he shall clean the house with the blood of the bird and the running water and the living bird with the cedar wood and hyssop and the scarlet. And he shall let the living bird loose outside the city in an open field and make atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. So now you got to spiritually make it clean. How's it going, sister? We are on Leviticus chapter 14, verse 54. All right. So this is a clean and unclean house. All right. So it's like, now we don't have to do this thing right here with the bird. We don't have to cleanse the house. Oh yeah, no problem. But these are good practices to remember. It's like, hey, this during COVID, this would have been very convenient. It's like, hey, are you clean or unclean? I know I had COVID pretty bad when I was coughing all over the place. So I would have been considered unclean, and I would pretty much have to go to a room and be isolated, and I could not have contact with anybody because I am considered unclean. And it says 7 days, and then you shall be, somebody should take a look at you and see if you became. So I would have to take medicine maybe, and be in prayer, take medicine, and in 7 days somebody looks at me, or every few days somebody will look at me and be like, is he getting better or not? Is he clean or unclean? And then once you become clean, you have to wash all your stuff. So it also says you got to wash all your stuff, wash all your clothes, wash. And in this case, it's leprosy, and it's the leprosy gets on the walls. And in this case, it was even like, hey, it's on the walls. You see red spots, like that's leprosy on the wall, and that had to be replaced, scraped off, redone. And then if it spread again, you pretty much have to knock down the whole house, get rid of the whole house, because like leprosy spread it pretty bad. So in this case, we're talking about leprosy, but I'm just saying, using it as an example, COVID, we could have used these isolation rules. You're unclean for 7 days at least. Man, I know it was pretty bad during COVID, but hey, thank you very much for being on. All right. Please don't forget to subscribe and like. I would really appreciate that. Trying to push the algorithm up a bit,